a person that looks like a lizard frog standing next to me as tangible as a human, and then he puts his frog fingers like on the thing, and I'm like, I'm trying to follow, but I'm also obviously all out of it. And he's like, you understand? You don't know how to do this. I'm giving you real information. I'm real. And at that moment, I was like, nothing will ever be the same.
This is basically like a portal, like a literal portal, or as close as we can get to a literal portal to another dimension, and no one cares.
I know that I don't know how to do this, and he gives me that information. That was the most brilliant way. So he's like, everything just changed in my brain immediately. A frog from another dimension taught me how to play the guitar.
So I love this story. He's told this on podcast before. This story is so good, and it gets even better because I feel like his encounter stories and entity encounter stories on DMT like are way more visceral. And like, you know, normally it's like, oh, I'm in this kaleidoscopic realm of like shapes and colors and whatever. With Danny, it's like, no, they're here and they're like real. It's absolutely insane.
And because I know what's possible on the substance, and because I've done it so much, so deeply, all of that stuff, that is not on the map. That kind of realism where there's just a straight up person standing next to me, nothing else happening. No crazy visuals, no nothing. Just a person that looks like a lizard frog standing next to me as tangible as a human. And I mean, not froze out of fear, but froze out of awe. I just couldn't believe what was happening.
Yeah.
And then he pointed to the guitar in the bottom of the room, and the other side of the room, and I immediately thought, oh, he's trying to communicate to like music theory, whatever. I'm not a musician. I'm just practicing. He's like, go. I was like, okay. So I get up.
I love this story.
Pick up the guitar, sit down, and he disappears from one side of the room and appears right next to me, just like that. And then he puts his frog fingers like on the thing, and I'm like, I'm trying to follow, but I'm also obviously all out of it. And I start noticing what he's doing, and I'm putting my fingers, and I'm strumming.
Mm-hmm.
The frog is trying to teach him chords. He's saying the frog is like using his little frog hands to show him like how to play like a C and a G and all this kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And a chord comes out. And then he goes, okay, like this. No, let's like do this. And then I do the next one, and another chord comes out, and it makes sense. And I go, and he's like, you understand? You don't know how to do this. I'm giving you real information. I'm real. And at that moment, I was like, nothing will ever be the same. I was like,
I'm out.
Oh my God.
That's SpongeBob, I'm a head out right there.
Yeah.
Like, this is real. He's like, And I go, and then the part of the story is a little funny. I had a postdoc in physics in the other room because I was renting out the other room for Airbnb. Marco, I will never forget because I exclaimed his name. It was like 2 a.m. And I was like, Marco! He didn't wake up, luckily. I'm going to tell him. A frog from another dimension taught me how to play the guitar. But he basically...
Dude, that should be the name of your book if you ever write a book. Just call it that.
So good. What a book title. A frog from another dimension taught me how to play guitar. Yo, if you're enjoying this clip, make sure you subscribe below and head on over to the main channel if you want to watch the full replay of this video. You might even be able to catch one of the streams live one time and get involved in the chat as well. All the links you need will be down below.
Yeah, great name.
People, after I told this, I haven't told the story in a while. I used to tell it a lot, and I haven't told it in a while. And after I told it on one podcast, this little frog guy became like a hero. People were like, he was the main attention. Like everybody wanted to know about him. He never.
Yeah, no shit. Of course, people want to know more about that. A frog taught you to play guitar, bro. What do you expect?
Appeared again, by the way.
Wow.
But that fact that I know that I don't know how to do this, and he gives me that information, that was the most brilliant way. So he's like, everything just changed in my brain immediately. And then I started doing it every day. I started smoking DMT every single day, all day. So I was on DMT for over a year.
That's crazy. He's being serious too. He was on DMT for a year.
Did all day long in the gym, in the store.
And we should say here, because a lot of people in the comments, I can just already see this person being like, you're addicted to a drug, you're a drug addict.
Sure.
But But we should
Yeah, they'd have fingers that look like mine right now too, covered in dust.
point out that this is stemming from like an intellectual and philosophical and spiritual interest. This isn't like a substance you need, like you're addicted to it, like nicotine. This is like you are actively, intellectually, and philosophically, and with your entire being, exploring a mental space that you otherwise cannot access. So it's like a different, it's not that kind of a like addiction or that kind of a,
No.
physiological
And
thing.
and it's
I'm so glad Michael like made that statement because but I mean, even still, you're still going to get like the brain dead Bradley that's like, drug addict, he's a drug addict. But I think like people don't get it that like this drug is not, it's not like heroin. Okay. He's not on meth every day. It's very different. And he's approaching it from like an intellectual and philosophical perspective of like trying to understand like, wait, what is this actually doing to the brain? And like, am I like, what is what I'm perceiving? Like, am I peering like beyond a veil? What is this sort of like extension of reality? He basically says like, to him, the fact that like people don't want to do that and like aren't interested in it is weird because he's like, this is basically like a portal, like a literal portal, or as close as we can get to a literal portal to another dimension, and no one cares. No one cares. But he's like, I care, and I want to I want to explore it, and I want to figure it out.
It's gonna sound super elitist, but it is true, and this is a point that Terence McKenna used to make, which is your level of intellect will determine how much you can pull out of it.
Yeah,
it's just how it is. He used to say some people come out and they say the colors. He said, forget the colors, malarkey, a word that he was very fond of. He said those are three-dimensional scenarios, and the important part isn't what you're seeing, but what it tells you about reality. The fact that it is possible to construct something that complex and coherent on its own right, with its own rules of operation, if you don't understand that that's substantial, that you don't have the capacity to. And it's not so much that the importance in being able to do that, to discern that, but to all the people, the naysayers that think that this is just like you said, like it's a form of an addiction. Well, it's more, if you want to say addicted to curiosity, then yes, you're right. But the fact that you just discovered a portal to another dimension, you're not going to do it every day? I don't know what's wrong with you then. You know what I mean? That's the other way for me. But basically the weird part is from that point on, the DMT behaved differently. It was no longer what I was familiar with. Once in a while, I would be kind of, torpedoed into this like hyperspace. But for the most part, no matter how much I would smoke, everything would come to my room. I would be fully standing, operating, and it was just like augmented reality. And it was like a phone call. Like they would come to my room and they would pick up from where we stopped and they would explain things to me and show me this and show me that. And it was like, and it was as real as you right now.
Wild. And I love that he said that. And it's so true, right? He's saying that like your level of intellect will depend on what you pull from the experience. And I also think like, that just relates to everything. Some people take it and feel like they just see nothing. You hear people say like they white out where it's all white. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if that's necessarily tied to intellect, but it just comes back down to like perspective, right? You could have the same experience of seeing these colors and all these things, and you could come back and your level of intellect is like, oh wow, the colors. Someone like Terence McKenna is going to come back and start questioning like how those colors are, interpreting like a message of the universe or something like that. I mean, I don't want to be doing DMT every day. I'm fine. A few people in the chat were saying you should do it and tell us. I'm open to doing it, but I'm not in a rush to go and do it. Like, I just don't feel like, I need to send my brain into a place where I have a frog teaching me guitar. You know what I mean? Build on Sound was saying, I want to do it, but I'm worried that I'll like lose my mind. I don't think I would lose my mind in a sense of, I never come back and I'm not the same again. I don't think that would happen, but I just don't feel like I need my state of mind to be like rattled and shaken up. Not because I think it's fragile, but because I'm just quite content. You know what I mean? Like I'm good. I'm good right now. Maybe one day when the time is right, I'll do it. And not that I even, I don't think you need to be in like a crisis to do these things. In fact, I'd probably recommend you not be in a crisis when you take DMT. But yeah, I think it's just one of those things. It's like, it's to be respected, and no rush to do it. When the time is right, it'll happen. And I will potentially report all about it and tell you guys.